This is Vermont Edition. I'm Mikaela Lefrak. Spring is an annual rite of passage, a time of transition and regrowth. Some of you spend it gardening. Others reconnect with friends who you haven't seen all winter. And for some of us weirdos, our favorite spring activity is cleaning. Today, to the chagrin of some of my producers, but to my utter delight, we are going to spend the hour talking about spring cleaning and decluttering. We'll share ideas for how to motivate yourself to clean out your attic, organize your closet, or downsize ahead of a big move. If you already consider yourself a master declutterer, please share your wisdom with us this hour. Where do you donate things once you've cleared them out of your apartment? Do you have a way to motivate yourself or your family to clean and declutter? Give us a call at 800-639-2211. You can also send us an email to vermontedition@vermontpublic.org. Our guests today are two professional home organizers. Sarah Thompson of Clean Slate Home Organizing is based in St. George. Sarah, welcome.
Thanks. Great to be here.
We are also joined by Amy Davis of Amy Davis Organizing. She's based in Georgia, Vermont. Amy, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you two with us. And I am so curious, how did you get into this line of business? Sarah, were you like a very organized kid from day one, or is this an interest that kind of grew with you over time?
Well, actually, as a young child, I was like most kids, a slob, but I figured out that it made me feel calm to start organizing in my bedroom. And so from around 8, I started organizing things in a way that helped me feel order in my space. Yeah.
Feel that sense of
so it's
peace
been building
that comes with
since
it.
then. Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Amy?
I've been like this from the beginning. I used to ask for drawer organizers for my birthday when I was a kid. I was folding bras and underwear and sorting them by color. From the beginning. So I've just finally realized that I was made to do this.
And now you both have created successful businesses where you'll go to people's houses and help them declutter and organize their homes. Sarah, can you say a little bit more about what exactly it is that you do? I mean, is it comparable to what we see on TV shows like The Home Edit or Marie Kondo?
Yes and no. I think one of the things, obviously all home organizers are coming in to declutter and get rid of things. But I think some things that may be missed in some of those shows is the emotional component that goes into helping a person really think through how they're feeling about what they own and how they want to feel in their space once it's organized. So there is the action of decluttering, but there's also a big element of supporting them in their emotional process.
I feel like there's also a sense of shame that can come with having what you feel like is too much stuff, holding on to things for too long, maybe worrying that you're going to be leaving somebody else with the burden of cleaning up after you. Spring cleaning can be very fun to talk about, but I also imagine it makes people's hearts race a little bit. Amy, do you come across that in your work?
I do. Usually the first time I meet with someone, there's kind of an apologetic embarrassment vibe. I'm so sorry I have all this stuff and I can't believe I got to this point. And I feel like Sarah said, there's the emotional part of helping them through that journey of realizing that it's not the items that you have a connection to, that it's the story behind them, or that there's more to it than it just being a thing. That maybe you have this connection to this pile of, photos because of something in the past that you can't let go of, that maybe you are ready to, maybe not. But there's a big emotional component to that we have to just be able to recognize with each person. Some people are more willing to let go than others. So,
And Sarah, when you and I first talked, you said that home organizers often have different kind of personal philosophies to how they approach this work. I'm wondering if you could share yours.
Yeah, I think for me, when I am meeting with a client, I want to help them to start to think about their relationship to their objects in a new way and bring awareness to how what they own is actually impacting their lives, either in a positive or a negative way. I think for a lot of people, they own things and they don't even realize what impact they're having. So I would say my philosophy is awareness and reflection on why you own what you own and focusing on what you do want so that it's easy to get rid of what you don't.
Amy, does that resonate with you, or do you take a slightly different approach?
I feel very similarly to Sarah, where I feel like you want to think about the end product. Why do you have me here? You have me here because you feel a certain way and you want to feel another way. And part of that is the clutter. But it doesn't mean getting rid of everything either. There's some things you want to keep because they make you feel good, and that's okay. Decluttering doesn't mean minimalism. It doesn't mean living with the white walls and nothing to enjoy. So it's just bringing what you have down so you can enjoy the things that you do love without all the clutter that's kind of camouflaging it.
Well, if you have a question for our decluttering professionals, you can give us a call at 800-639-2211 or email vermontedition@vermontpublic.org. Let's bring in Elizabeth in Hardwick. Elizabeth, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Throwing away stuff. I've already started my Swedish death cleaning, but I want to remind people that getting rid of junk may also mean that you're throwing out stuff that is important to the history of your community or your family. And so particularly if you're cleaning out a family home that's been in the community for a long time, you might get in touch with the local historical society to see if any of this stuff that you are not interested in might have some treasures that they are.
That's a great point, Elizabeth. Thank you. Sarah, I see you nodding there. Is that something you've suggested to clients?
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you have an historic home, or even if it's personal to family, like certain documents might not be of interest to you, but you might have a cousin or, somebody in the family who actually cares about those things. So it is with historical objects and documents, it's really important to check before you throw it out to make sure it's not valuable to someone, even if it's just emotionally valuable.
And Amy, what are some of the types of things that people might want to look out for? Say they're cleaning out a home that isn't theirs. It's like a family member's home. Maybe they've recently passed and it's been in the family for a long time. Some things that might be significant in the way that Elizabeth is saying.
Sure. I have a client now that's looking that's downsizing, and we have a huge map of Franklin County that an old map. It's like 5 feet by 5 feet. It's huge. Beautifully framed, and that's something that we're not going to donate to Goodwill. That's something that I've started contacting museums in Franklin County and local to see if anybody's interested in taking that for public display. Similarly with old maps and old letters and things like that might want to be held on to.
Our caller Elizabeth also mentioned Swedish death cleaning. Sarah, could I ask you to describe what that is for folks who aren't familiar?
Yeah, so Swedish death cleaning is a method of organizing that is the purpose of it is to prepare your home and downsize in preparation for your eventual death and not leaving behind a mess for the next generation to deal with. And one of the beautiful things about it is that it helps you to be able to make decisions about your belongings that you care about, and not just leaving things that might otherwise just get thrown out because someone doesn't know that they were important or why. And it's I love it because it brings in your loved ones and your next generation to learn about what you have and why it's important or not. And
yeah. Does that come up for you, Amy? Do you talk to clients who have like heard about Swedish death cleaning or read a book in the last couple of years once it's gained popularity?
I do, and it really is not dependent on age at all. You may find people doing it that are in their 80s, but also in their 50s or 60s that just don't want to leave that burden on their children like their parents may have left on them.
Okay, so we've talked a bit about somebody who might be downsizing or maybe a family member who's already passed and you're working their way through their stuff. But I'd like to kind of jump to the early years and the stuff that can come with that. I know you are both parents, as I am, and my kid, who I love deeply, is constantly bringing in stuff into our home, from piles of sticks to little pieces of glitter that she believes are so deeply important to her and her sense of self and the magic she is sure she can do. There's the clothes that she's growing out of, but are, there's just so much stuff that comes with parenting, especially in the early years. I'm wondering if you might have suggestions for our listeners who might be in my boat and are trying to balance the emotional aspect of those things with the need to get them out of their house. Sarah?
Yeah, one of the things that I really think is helpful for families with young children is what I call the special box. You could call it a treasure box maybe, but it's a way to engage your children in saving special things. Might be glitters, might be sticks, might be a letter or a card or a drawing, and they get to choose what goes in the box. And you want to have conversations with them about, okay, not every single drawing needs to go in, but like special things go in the special box. And then every now and then, like every 6 months to a year, they get to go through it and they suddenly realize like, oh, that drawing doesn't matter to me anymore. That rock doesn't matter to me anymore. And over several years, the process of putting things in and removing things, they just naturally learn that it's okay to feel emotionally attached to something, and then those feelings can go away, and that's okay too, and then they can let go of it. And so that is a lesson that will live with them forever, this comfort of holding things dearly and letting go.
Kind of like a living time capsule.
Yeah.
I love that idea. Amy, do you have any suggestions?
I do a similar thing with my kids that Sarah just mentioned. They have their special, boxes where they can keep things and that are important. But I also have like a folder of artwork that they each have the folder. And when that folder gets full, we sit together with it and they choose what they're ready to let go of so they can have room for more things. I think having them involved makes a really big difference. And now I'm finding that my children are just starting to do it on their own. They'll come out of their room with a box of things and say, Mom, I'm done with these things now. They can go. And I don't even have to prompt them anymore. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. Well, let's take another caller here. We have Jackson in Braintree on the line. Jackson, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Mikaela. Thanks for taking my call. We have an entire large room in our house that has become the nesting place for all the stuff we don't know what to do with. And it's gotten to a point where we're kind of paralyzed and overwhelmed by how to deal with this room. And I'm just wondering if this is something we can tackle ourselves, and if so, how, or do we need professional help at this point?
Thanks, Jackson. Amy, I'll let you tackle this one first.
It just depends on how much time you have and how confident you are with the decisions that you can make. I think the easy thing to do is start with the low-hanging fruit, the trash, the things that don't belong in there that can be put away, or the things that you know right away you can donate or pass on to somebody else, and then see what's left. And then I would categorize and sort that way. So you can see, hey, I have 200 DVDs in here right now. Maybe I don't watch DVDs anymore. So, maybe I can get rid of those or keep the ones you want. If you feel overwhelmed, then that's where Sarah and I really can come in and help. But I think anybody can do it. It's just a matter of if you have the time and patience to go through all those decisions on your own.
And Jackson, I love the description of sort of a catch-all room. I feel like a lot of us have those. It could be a whole room, it could be a shelf or a drawer, but that one kind of black hole space where you're like, I cannot begin to deal with this. So you are not alone. Sarah, any suggestions for Jackson?
Yeah, and I would agree with that. A lot of people have a space like that is troublesome. And I think the word that you used, feeling paralyzed, is when I think it can be helpful to have a professional come in, because really the issue is getting started. And it looks so overwhelming, and to have someone there who can get you through that paralysis to start being able to make decisions can be, it's probably wouldn't take you that long to get through it, but the getting started and get the momentum going could be all that it would take. And then once you get it started, you could take it on your own and do it. But if you were to not have a professional come in, I would say start small. Set a timer for 15 minutes and do what you can do in 15 minutes and then walk away. And then you can come back to it repeatedly. Just set the timer like for 15 or 30 minutes, whatever feels comfortable, and just see how much progress you're making in segmented times.
What motivates you to do your spring cleaning? Do you participate in a big neighborhood yard sale or donate unused items to a charity that you'd like to highlight with us today? You could call in at 800-639-2211 or email Vermont Edition at vermontpublic.org. We're going to keep talking about home organizing and take more of your calls after a short break. This is Vermont Edition. Stay with us. Welcome back to Vermont Edition. I'm Mikaela Lefrak. If you're just joining us today, we are psyching ourselves up for some spring cleaning and organizing. Our guests are two local professional home organizers and declutterers, Sarah Thompson of Clean Slate Home Organizing and Amy Davis of Amy Davis Organizing. Now, before the break, I asked if you have any tips for motivating yourself and your family to organize and clean your house or your apartment. Maybe there's an organization that you donate to, or a way that you and your friends swap items to make things feel fresh again. Give us a call and tell us about it. 800-639-2211 is our number. You can also send an email to vermontedition@vermontpublic.org. And let's jump right back into the phone lines. We have Julie calling in from Vergennes. Julie, go ahead.
Hi. I just want to give a shout out for donating pre-loved goods, what we call pre-loved goods, to resale shops that serve great causes in the community. In Vergennes, the shop Sweet Charity welcomes furniture, linens, artwork, decor, and other goods for the home. And we've been doing this since going on 20 years now. And it's good for the community. It helps. We help many causes for women and children within the community, and we can guarantee that the things that people donate go to places that are going to be used and loved once again. So it's what we call feel-good giving and feel-good shopping.
Julie, thank you so much. Your call reminds me, Sarah, of a program that you started with the Lund residential program. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I started a program called the Wraparound Families Project to support moms in the residential program at Lund, so that when they transition out of residential life into independent living, I collect furniture and household goods that can then help them furnish their first apartments. So that relieves some of the financial burden for them. But more importantly to me, the Wraparound Families Project is a way to acknowledge these moms for the amazing hard work they're doing to create a new life for themselves and their children.
And you have a whole storage unit that you use for this, right? And a grant to help movers and all this. You've thought of everything.
I do. Yeah, it's a real love of mine. I feel so passionate about helping these moms feel the support of their community. So, yeah, I have a grant that helps pay for a storage unit and to help move furniture from the storage unit to their new apartments. And so I have a constant inflow and outflow of furniture and dishes and pots and pans, things like small couches and dressers and things. And it's really, I love being able to be a help in this way.
Yeah, and it's sort of an important reminder that when you're clearing things out of your home, they don't necessarily have to end up in a landfill. Amy, I know you work in Franklin County and Grand Isle and Chittenden, all over that part of the region. Do you have places that you like to suggest to clients who are looking to donate things that they've cleaned out of their house?
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite places locally is Replays. They're a nonprofit, and it all goes towards to the hospital. And I think they only have 1 or 2 paid employees there, so I make sure to try to donate there first. Also,
It'll come to you.
It'll come to me.
We got another one.
But I try to look for local charities first before I end up in Goodwill or the landfill. But there's always, that is probably my last choice. But keeping it in the community is important.
Yeah. And I can imagine that in the society that we live in today, where there's a lot of fast fashion, there's a lot of little things that you can. Oh, did you just think of it?
Yes.
What's it called?
Spectrum.
Great.
Thank you.
I know. It sometimes just takes a minute. There's lots of, fast fashion. There's lots of little plastic things you could buy at the dollar store, Walgreens. We're sort of in this age of mass consumption. And I can imagine that your services are becoming increasingly popular and necessary. Sarah, how have you seen this industry of home organizing grow over the years?
Exponentially.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, when I started Clean Slate 7 years ago, there were a couple around, and it was sort of hard to find people who were doing home organizing. And now there's quite a number just in the Chittenden County area and a few outside of Chittenden County. And it actually is a nationally growing industry. It's about 4% nationally every year. And one of the things that we've been doing, Amy and I are part of a small group of home organizers. We meet monthly to support each other in our business and sort of just ideas about organizing. And that way we can connect people with the right organizer. But it is a growing industry. And just talk about it. Yeah. But, I think a big reason for the growth is that not only is consumerism so high, there's just people are overwhelmed. They're just trying to do too much. So trying to work and raise a family and then keep the house tidy is really hard to do. So having someone come in to help them not only declutter, but also to streamline their systems so that the whole day works better can bring a lot of relief to families.
Let's talk about some of the kind of lasting lessons that you try to impart after meeting with somebody. Say you help somebody clean out, that black hole of a room in their house or that one terrible closet, and they say, I don't want this to happen again. How do I keep myself from calling you in a year saying, that closet has filled up with junk again? What are some of the basic tips that you share with a client like that, Amy?
Well, it's kind of like working out. You can't just do it once and then be done. You have to keep maintaining it. You're never going to stop buying things. So my rule that I use for myself is 1 in, 1 or 2 or 3 out. So I buy myself a new shirt and I have 1 or 2 that go to be donated. Also, keeping your space defined. So I have a specific drawer for workout gear, for example. When it's full, something needs to go. Not allowing myself to just keep buying space to store things. I think those are probably the 2 of the biggest ones that make the most impact.
Those are good.
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of cull together some of these kind of basics of decluttering and spring cleaning and write them up for our website on vermontpublic.org and in the show notes for today's show. So if you have any tips like the ones that Amy just shared, maybe tenets that you live by to keep your apartment or your house decluttered, call in at 800-639-2211, or you can also call in with questions. Sarah, what are some of your basics for keeping a space decluttered?
I think that maintenance is the key. It's once you get it set to a place that you works for you, instead of letting things build up to a momentous task, having it be something that is part of your daily or weekly rhythm. And a perfect example of that is laundry. Like people, that's pretty much the number one thing that people struggle with is keeping on top of laundry. So I said, okay, well, let's get it down to, you've got one basket of laundry. Now do one load every day. Wash, fold, dry, put away. That takes 12 minutes. But to do 7 loads of laundry is overwhelming. So I try to help people find the places that they can get these rhythms that only take a few minutes a day so that they can easily maintain their systems.
That's a great one. I also wonder if you two work with folks on digital decluttering. When I think about the spaces in my life that feel overwhelming and cluttered with stuff, one of them is my Photos app on my phone. I know there's lots of digital services out there that can kind of help you, put photos into physical photo books or, sort through them. But I'm wondering if that has come up in your work. Amy?
It recently has, but for myself, I've been going through some training myself to organize photos and the digital side because it has become overwhelming for me and I want to be able to help other people do that. So I'm kind of using myself as a guinea pig and then hoping to launch something involving that in the future.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Sarah, have you worked in that space?
I have not worked in the digital space. Actually, you know what? I could use an organizer for my
Or you could call Amy in a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I also am curious about the growing demand for your services and how you help connect people with folks who do this work that might be in other parts of the state or might have a different philosophy around cleaning that better fits a client's needs. Sarah, you mentioned this meetup group that you're a part of or that you started for home organizers. Is that something you help out with? Because I'm also very conscious that we're talking about kind of the northern part of the state right now specifically.
Yeah, I mean, my dream in having this group is that we will grow and organizers from around the state will start to be a part of that so that we can help people further south or even further north where it's out of this Chittenden County range. Like I can't drive 2 hours to work with someone. So finding those people that we can then refer to, but also just within Chittenden County, I definitely pass referrals to people that I think are a better fit for a specific need. And some of those organizers will refer to me as well when they see that it's something that I'm specifically passionate about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As you were talking, my mind just flashed to another one of my black hole spots in my house, which is this one drawer that I have in my kitchen that I can never open because it's full of those misshapen,
tongs?
Not even tongs and spatulas and weird stuff that I think I might use once, but I never do. I'm guessing and I'm hoping that I'm not the only person out there with that terrible kitchen drawer. But I wonder if maybe we could spend a couple minutes on the kitchen specifically and see if you all have any tips for those of us trying to clear it out of it.
I'll start. I think that a big stumbling point in the kitchen lately is all these fancy tools that do one thing. Mm-hmm. The watermelon slicer, the avocado holder, all these things that really only serve one purpose. So I like to kind of pick those first to get rid of because really you can use something else and save a lot of space in your drawer. For those. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I would agree about removing things that you use infrequently from the drawer. You want that drawer to open smoothly and you can immediately just reach in and get the thing you want. So, drawer dividers are really good in the kitchen. But for those little once in a while use things, either don't have them anymore. But or one
Think
thing
before
I
you
do,
buy.
like my kids, they're older now, but they love their cherry pitter, and so you've got this big cherry pitter, but it lives in a little container in a closet near the kitchen. And we have a few things like that and so if there's something that you actually use, but even it's like once or twice a year, it's okay to have it. You just don't want it right in that kitchen drawer.
Yeah. You know what my thing is like that? I have this little, it's like a Tupperware thing that looks like half an onion, and it's to keep half an onion in if you like cook with half. I use that thing all the time. I love it. It's my like favorite thing in my kitchen.
Then you definitely should keep it.
You should keep it.
But I know what you mean. I feel like the avocado slicer is a
Right,
common one where,
right.
you
The
give
knife
it as a
is just
gift and you're
fine.
like, they're never going to use this.
Yeah.
And also, often people will have 3 of the same thing.
True.
But they don't know it because it's so crowded in there. They don't actually know what's in there. So taking it all out.
Or they'll buy another one because they don't think they have it. And then, next thing you know.
Yeah. We just got an email from a listener named Shannon with a question for the two of you. Shannon writes, my mom passed away when I was 22 and she was a single parent. I'm 38 now, so it's been a long time. We kept our childhood home and many items I've kept of my mother's that were sentimental to me but are oddly useless. Do you find that there is a limit to what is a normal amount of things to keep from a family member who has passed away? Am I crazy for keeping this stuff? Are there any ideas you have for how I can make these items more meaningful and useful than just sitting in boxes? Well, Shannon, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I can imagine a lot of our listeners relate to how you're feeling about your mother's items. Sarah, let's start with you. Do you have suggestions for her?
It is such a beautiful question and one that I get a lot. I think the important thing when you're thinking about your things that you have from a loved one who's passed is, does it strengthen your relationship with them? Or is it just stuff? Because it seems like maybe you have a lot of things that belonged to her, and you can pick the things that make you remember her with joy or special memories, but not every single thing that a person owned is necessarily special. And in fact, just sitting in a box might have a negative impact in that it might feel like a burden just sitting in a closet somewhere. And that doesn't strengthen your bond and relationship with that loved one. So that's one of the things I like to talk with people about is, how do these belongings fit into your experience and memories of that person? And what of these things are you just holding on to out of guilt because they belong to them?
That's beautiful. Thank you. And Amy?
Going along with what Sarah said, I think being in the box isn't helping at all. It's just like Sarah said, it's a burden. So what I encourage clients to do is to put something on display, or use it even better. That turkey platter that is so important to your mom, maybe use that for a charcuterie board or something, and try to use it more often so that you can have that memory with you rather than in the box collecting dust.
Well, thank you again, Shannon, for writing in. Let's take one more call here. We have Mary in Stowe. Mary, go ahead. Hi, Mary. Are you with us? All right, we're having some trouble hearing Mary, but I do see that she had a suggestion about kids' clothes and buying each kid a different colored clothes hamper to have them put away their own laundry. I love that. I bet color coding with kids is very successful. I see you both smiling and nodding as fellow moms here. Yeah?
I think color coding works for adults too.
All right. Well, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have with our two guests for today, professional home organizers Amy Davis and Sarah Thompson. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Mikaela.
Thank you so much. It was so fun.
We do have to take one more quick break, but when we come back, we are going to hear from a local DJ who will come to your home and play music for you while you clean. So if that doesn't motivate you to do your spring cleaning, I don't know what will. You're listening to Vermont Edition. Stay with us. Welcome back to Vermont Edition. I'm Mikaela Lefrak. Today on the show, we are talking about spring cleaning and sharing some tips for decluttering your home. Motivating yourself to organize a particularly messy closet or black hole of an attic can be nearly impossible, and excuses to do something else are easy to find. If this is you, or if you have some tips for motivating yourself and your family to declutter, give us a call. We could use the help. 800-639-2211 is our number. You can also email those tips and tricks to vermontedition@vermontpublic.org. If you are ready to buckle down on spring cleaning and you want a way to make it fun, you could call Tara Lee Weathers. She's a Burlington-based DJ, and she'll come to your house to play music while you clean. Tara Lee, welcome to Vermont Edition.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad to have you here. Before we dive into our conversation, I'd love to take a quick listen to one of your mixes. This is from Lake House Live, Volume 1, Lake Champlain.
Hi, this is DJ Chitata, and this is Lake House Live, Volume 1.
All right, I'm ready to go now. This is great. Okay, how did you come up with this idea?
Well, I love watching DJs on YouTube. Flavor Trip are some of my favorite. They're this couple that sold all of their things and went on a flavor trip. And so they DJ and cook food and make a drink all at the same time. And there's like a video on them DJing and a video them cooking. And sometimes they're like on the side of a river. Sometimes they're in someone's house. And so I was thinking about if I was to do a YouTube series DJing, what I would want to do. And so it brought me to the time when my friend Jessie was like, can you just come over my house and sit on my bed while I'm putting my laundry away? It's been sitting here forever. So I came over and all of a sudden her laundry was away in like 10 minutes and she had been dreading it forever. And that is something called body doubling, which is a kind of hack that people use when they have ADHD to get things done, that sometimes they just need someone there. So I was like, what if I could like help someone in their house and the world through YouTube by DJing and making it fun. Like I use playlists when I need to clean my clothes pile that has piled up. I'll make a playlist and I have to finish it by the time that's done. So I thought, what if I did that? And that's kind of where the idea came about.
It's such a fun idea, way to make something that could be such a chore seem really enjoyable, and something that I think can feel kind of lonely sometimes too. You bring another person into that room with you and you're not just getting a task done, but you're like connecting with another person.
Yeah, totally. Because it can be boring, it can be overwhelming. And when you just have someone there, like I have a microphone connected to my controller. And so I'll also be like, you got this, like, look at you vacuuming. You're doing such a good job. Keep going. And that also is something that's really helpful.
I love that. So, tell us a little bit more about your DJ career, because as I understand it, you're relatively new to this world.
Yeah, I'm really new. I saw an Instagram ad in December for this DJ Academy in Tulum, Mexico, and I was traveling through Mexico anyway. So I was like, I asked my husband, what if I went to this and spent 2 weeks really learning how to DJ, which I didn't even really know what that totally meant. Mm-hmm. And that was in March when I went to the academy. And the second I got behind those decks, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I've been behind them practicing and performing and curating playlists and doing all things every day since. And now I'm learning how to produce my own music. And it's just the thing I'm supposed to be doing. I'm so excited.
Wow. Okay, I'm glad you brought up that you didn't like quite know what DJ meant when you saw this. I think that is something a lot of us might have thought and are too embarrassed to ask. So can you explain what exactly you are doing when you are back there?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I thought about it. I was like, I wish that my guidance counselor in high school told me that mixtape could be a career. And it's so much more than that. But you're really like creating an experience for people. Like I spend so much time making my playlists and feeling how the vibe can go from here to here. and how to make that feel natural and good. And then at the same time, you're also matching beats because you don't, it's not like one song plays and then it stops and the next song goes. You have to match the beats and you have to match the keys and you have to make the song sound really good as it's mixing from one to the other. So it's really seamless and you're dancing to one song before you know it, it's another song. It's a real, like, it's a kind of an art.
Yeah. Well, that's so great that you found such a unique way to use this art to help other people. And so you were telling us a little bit earlier about how you have tried something out called body doubling, which is kind of, in a way, sort of like bearing witness to somebody as they get through a task or a chore at home. It often is very helpful for folks with ADHD. Is this something that like you've needed help with yourself in the past?
Oh, yeah. I have ADHD real bad. And so actually, if you ask my parents or my college roommates or anybody before the age of like, I want to say 35, what my spaces looked like. My room was a disaster. It was always exploding. I like could not keep it clean. And so once I learned about ADHD and kind of how to use it as a superpower instead of this thing that is causing chaos in my life, things really changed. And now I have kept my closet organized for like, I want to say like 3 years now, which is like so amazing.
What's the secret? What changed?
Well, one, my closet lives in a flow state. So instead of it being where I'm just hoarding things all the time, if I get things, I have to get rid of things. I also have to be able to see everything at one time. And then I use music. So when my closet gets out of hand or I have a huge pile of clothes on the floor, I make a playlist and then I tackle it.
Well, we got a question from Beth in Fayston who wanted to know if there are resources available to help folks find donation centers in Vermont or finding local charities in our area. And I wonder if you, Tara-Lee, have relied on any like local donation spots, or if you, how do you get rid of the clothes in your closet? Do you swap with friends?
Yeah. I lead a retreat with this musician, Haley Jane. It's a Wild Woman retreat, and we do a clothing swap at the retreat every time. Also with my friends. Sometimes I host them, sometimes other people. So clothing swaps are like one of my favorite things. It's really amazing. And then also just donating to thrift stores and different places. I'll often just bring like a huge bag and donate it. And that's where I get almost all the things. Actually, everything I'm wearing is secondhand.
Including this amazing hat.
I got it in a thrift store outside of Montreal.
I won't even begin to describe it, but it's an excellent fur or faux fur hat that is incredible. Let's go to Lillian, who's calling in from Bennington. Lillian, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Lillian is my online name because I'm in a hoarding support group for about 10 years. And I came up with something not completely on my own. Someone suggested a tally game where you just keep a track of the number of things you do, and nobody else wanted to do it, but I latched on and designed it for myself because of ADHD you were just talking about. So I think a normal brain or regular brain, if you're told to color in a whole page, would start at the top and draw back and forth lines and all the way down till you fill it in. But those of us with ADHD might go dot, 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 all over the paper. What I realized was eventually the paper still gets filled in, no matter which way you do it. So why don't I design something for my brain instead of keep yelling at my brain for not being like other people's brains? And it really got me motivated versus being paralyzed on the couch and doing nothing. And so I got a 99-cent composition book and one of those tally clickers for, just a couple bucks. And I keep track of it. Each week I can see if I'm doing better, worse, or the same, and it motivates me. So I want to share that with other people in case it helps somebody else like me.
Oh, Lillian, thank you so much for sharing that. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Making things a game for people with ADHD really helps to get it done because you have to like do all these tricks to your brain so you get motivated and kind of put yourself in hyper focus, which is like with the DJ set, actually the one that I did that was on the news with my friend Dove. He had a whole hour. He just wanted him and his wife Cheryl wanted to clean the living room and then put some dishes away. But they did it all in 30 minutes. Because they started going. And then they were like, what else can we clean? And then all of a sudden they said that they cleaned things that never were cleaned. And then they switched over their clothes from like the winter to summer, which they weren't even planning on doing. But it's like once you get started and then it feels like this fun game, then there's like no stopping you.
And I'm glad you brought up that news segment. You were featured in a segment on WPTZ, which is how we found out about you. So hat tip to those folks over
And then
there.
it was in the New York Post.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
like really blowing up. It's crazy.
Yeah, so what has the response been like?
Yeah, people are just like, this is the best idea, and they want me to come to their house. And I'm excited for the YouTube video because I can't go everywhere all the time. So this is a way where I can help even more people with a series because they can be anywhere and they can clean with me.
And when are you launching that?
We'll see. I don't know yet.
Okay.
But as soon as possible. I have the videographer lined up and I have some houses. So it'll be pretty quick.
Do you have a spot in your house or your apartment that is your kind of like black hole space that you kind of put off dealing with? This is something we talked about in the previous segment where we had a caller call in and say that he and his wife have this one room that is this kind of black hole for them, full of stuff. I have a drawer like that and a whole closet like that too. I'm wondering if you have one as well.
Yeah, I have a couple of them. One, it happens every single week because I feel like getting dressed is an art and I really like to express myself through clothing. And it also, a thing with ADHD is like sensitivity of how things feel. So I'll try on like 25 things before I decide on what it is that I want to wear. And I throw it all in this like pile in my room. And I try to clean it every Monday. And so, but sometimes by Sunday, it's a real disaster. And if I don't tackle it on Monday, it gets really overwhelming.
Yeah. That's good. So you've created a schedule for yourself to tackle the
and I make a
clothes
playlist.
mountain.
And I go for it.
I also wonder if, as you've started to dive into this work, if it's changed your own approach to buying things like clothes or bringing things into your house. Have you become personally more aware?
Oh my gosh, yes. I have a system that I use that I think because I was watching Marie Kondo stuff, and she's amazing. But when it comes to what sparks joy, I'm like, if I have
and that's one of her taglines.
Yeah. But like, if I have it, it sparks joy. So like everything that I have sparks joy. So I'm not going to get rid of anything. But I think of how I want to be in relationship with it. So whether I'm buying it or it's something that I own, how do I want to be in relationship? If it's like a dress that's so beautiful, like you're so beautiful, but you hurt me, like you need to go, or someone set me up with you and I'm not really that into you, or like we're hot and heavy and we do something like once a year, that can probably stay. So I kind of think of how I want to be in relationship with every single item. And then that really helps me to decide what should stay and what should go and what I should buy and what I shouldn't buy.
That's great. Personifying it a bit. And I'm also wondering if you might have any suggestions of songs or genres to leave us with that have been really motivating to you in your own season of cleaning and decluttering. And what are you finding yourself listening to these days?
Yeah, I love actually kind of bending the genres and listening to lots of them, but definitely in the house scene. So I love disco house, funky house, Afro house, tech house. They all have that beat that gets you going. And I'll often start like with a little bit more chill house because I just need a little bit of like slow motivation to get going. And then I build it up into like where all of a sudden you're like, yeah. And the beat drops. You're like, woo. And then all of a sudden you're like cleaning like crazy.
So it's house for house cleaning.
Yes.
There's your
it's
YouTube
called Glow
title.
Up the House is the name of the channel.
Love it.
Well, actually the channel's DJ Chitata, but the series is Glow Up the House.
DJ Chitata, also known as Tara Lee Weathers, a Burlington-based DJ who will come to your house to play music while you clean. Thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck with the launch of the YouTube channel.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. And a reminder, if you've been listening today and want to review some of these tips for spring cleaning and decluttering that we've discussed on today's show, we're going to write them up and share them on our website, vermontpublic.org. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. But tomorrow on Vermont Edition, I want to let you know about a really special show we're going to do. I'm so excited to share it with you all. It's the second installment of our ongoing series, Vermont Edition at Home. And we are heading to the cartoonist Alison Bechdel's home in Bolton. Our conversation takes place in the studio where she creates her work. She is very famous for her comics and her graphic novels and memoirs. She's a new graphic novel out called Spent, and we'll also talk a little bit about her award-winning memoir, Fun Home, which was turned into a Tony Award-winning musical. Again, that's tomorrow at noon. Today's show was directed by Aaliyah Papes. John Ahrens is our managing producer. Andrea Lorien and Daniela Fierro are our producers. Today's call screener was Rick Barrett, and our theme music is by Myra Flynn. I'm Mikaela Lefrak. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch up again soon.